This video is really late, but let's just pretend that it's not. Today I'm going to be talking about the books I got for Christmas, so let's just get into it. I do want to say, first of all though, I know very little about these books, which is kind of how I like it to be, so just a little warning, I'm not going to be able to be too descriptive. But the first books I want to share are these classics that I got. They're all the Penguin Clothbound series, which I'm obsessed with, so I can't even explain how excited I am to have these. And I've been convincing myself I'm going to read more classics, so we'll see if that happens. But the first one I have is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. Look how beautiful that is. Like, come on. And the pages in these editions are like really thick and you can just tell if it's like expensive paper. I love them so much. So I put this one on my list because I like Charlotte Bronte, and by that I mean I really love Jane Eyre, so I want to see what another one of her books would be like. Then we've got Dracula, another gorgeous book. I put this one on my list because spooky. I want to read about vampires. And I love goth shit, so here we are. Then we've got Paradise Lost by John Milton, another beautiful book. This one I don't know too much about. I believe it has something to do with the devil, so that's why I picked it up. I like reading about like Christianity stuff, even though I'm not a Christian, but we'll just leave that for another day. And then lastly, I think this one's my favorite cover, War and Peace by Tolstoy. This book's crazy. The cover is just so beautiful though. And the thing about this is that I've read Anna Karenina, so I've convinced myself that reading War and Peace will be like nothing. Like, it's gonna be super easy to get through, which is a crazy level of confidence that's definitely unwarranted. And I'm a little bit scared of it now after I've seen it and after I've seen people online talk about how complex of a book it is. So this one might take me a while to get to. I might wimp out for a bit. Next, my grandmother got me some books that she let me pick out, which was very sweet of her, so I know a little bit more about these. Maybe I said that too soon. First book we've got is The Manningtree Witches by A.K. Blakemore. This book I picked up because it's about witches, and I wanted to read like a witchy novel, and it seems like it's like a historical fiction novel that has to deal with the witches, so I'm into that. I thought it would be fun. I picked it up. This next one I know nothing about. Everville by Clive Barker. I picked this up because there was a little table that was all like horror reads, and it was buy one get one 50% off. However, even the back doesn't provide much of a description. It says, on the borderland between this world and the world of quiddity, the sea of her dreams sits Everville. For years it has lived in ignorance of the gleaming shores upon which it lies, but its ignorance is not bliss. Opening the door between worlds, Clive Barker delivers his characters into the heart of the human mystery. See, that means nothing to me. It's also kind of a beefy book, but I want to read more horror, so I picked it up. After that, I chose The Bone-Charred Daughter by Andrea Stewart. I picked up this book because I remember it having a lot of hype when it first came out, or at least enough hype that I've heard of it before, and I was in the mood for just a classic fantasy. This book follows an emperor's daughter. I don't know why I said it like that. This book follows an emperor's daughter, and the whole magic of the realm is based off of like bone shard magic. So every civilian has to give them like a piece of their bone, and the emperor then makes like these creatures with the bone shards that help keep control of the country. Weird, right? But it's kind of cool. So this book follows his daughter, who's trying to learn the bone shard magic, as well as a few other characters. Like, one is a famous smuggler. I've already read this one, so I'm going to try to keep it brief so it's not like giving my thoughts on the books, but I thought it was an interesting magic system, and that's what really made me want to pick it up. And then lastly I got No Longer Human by Junji Ito. I picked up this book because again I want to get into more horror, and I've heard really great things about this author and him being like a master of horror storytelling. I've never read manga before, so I picked this one up a little bit. I set it back down, but it was a little confusing. But it's cool to like see the pictures, and like this shit is creepy as hell. I'm really into it. I'm excited to give it a read. Also, just like look at the cover. Isn't that so cool? And this is the other one. So cool. Then I got some books from my dad. First of which is Time is a Mother by Ocean Vuong. I picked it up, well, I didn't pick this book up. I put this book on my list because I really love what's it called? I know it's over here. I really loved On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and I loved like the lyrical writing. Like, the writing in that book was very, I wanted to say poetical, and that's not a word, but you understand what I mean. and it made me interested in reading his poetry, so I'm excited about this. Also a little nervous because poetry isn't normally my thing, but we'll see how much I like it. Next, we have Black Swans by Eve Babbitt. No idea what this is about. I think it's a short story collection. All I know is that I've been wanting to read Eve Babbitt for a while because you always hear about her, and I feel like I hear about her in the same vein as like Joan Didion, so that makes me really interested in reading her work. Next, we have Childhood by Tove Ditlevsen. I'm sorry. This book is based off of the author's childhood in Copenhagen. It's a 3-book series. I didn't realize how tiny the books were going to be, but I thought it was really interesting. I've also read another book by this author called The Faces, and I liked it a lot, so I was interested. And last book from my dad is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I don't know what this specific novel is about, but I recently read, what's the name of it? I'm forgetting all the names. Never Let Me Go. I recently read Never Let Me Go by this author, and I thought it was so good, so I want to read more by him. And I think this is his most recent novel. I could be wrong, but I think it is, and that's why I put it on the list. Then my mom got me a couple books. The first is Lonely Castle and the Mirror by Mizuki Tazumura. This book I can't explain. I'm gonna have to read the inside flap. As she spirals into despair, her mirror begins to shine. With a touch, Kokoro is pulled from her lonely life into a resplendent, bizarre fairy tale castle guarded by a strange girl and a wolf mask. 6 other students have been brought to this castle, and soon this marvelous refuge becomes their playground. So it's fantastical. I think it's also going to be sweet, because at least it says in the beginning of this that she's bullied, she doesn't have many friends, so it's like kind of a good escape for her. I saw good things about this online. I thought it sounded interesting, so I wanted to give it a read. And then the last book I got for Christmas is 10th of December by George Saunders. I'm gonna be real, I have no idea what this is about. I kind of think it might be a short story collection. Yeah, it says stories, so got that one. I picked this up because this is one of Phoebe Bridgers' favorite books, and I'm kind of thinking I might do another video about reading her favorite books because I really enjoyed doing the last one. Okay, well that's all for today. Those are all the books I got for Christmas. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Goodbye!